Why doesn't dinner with friends hit the same anymore? It's Friday. You've had a long week, you want to see your friends, but no one's texting. No one's making plans. And even if they did, what's the move? Applebee's? TGI Fridays? You're not even sure those places are still open. So instead, you open DoorDash. Pick something random. Eat alone on the couch while Black Mirror plays in the background. No conversation, no laughter, just food. We used to eat out together, stay late, split appetizers, fight over the check. Dinner was a ritual. Now, it's just a transaction. And this isn't just about restaurants closing. It's not even about the food. It's about the slow, quiet death of something bigger. Something that used to bring people together and now barely exists at all. Someone commented this on my last video. I don't go outside, IDK. And honestly, same. So what happened? Why does dinner feel like a chore now, when it used to be the best part of our week? To understand that, we need to go back, not just to the restaurants we miss, but to the version of us that still made time for each other. And nights that didn't end with everyone scrolling in silence. We lost each other, and it happened so slowly, we didn't even notice. To really understand what we lost, you have to understand what we had. And for that, we gotta go back to the 90s. Back then, eating out wasn't about flexing for social media. It was about showing up for your friends, your family, and being together somewhere that felt easy, familiar, and honestly kind of comforting. We had something special. This was the decade where going out to eat didn't mean fine dining or Instagram dishes. It meant piling into the car, driving past Blockbuster, and pulling into a Pizza Hut. Or Applebee's, Olive Garden, TGI Fridays, the big four of middle-class dining. Every town had them. Every strip mall had at least one. They weren't impressive, but they were predictable. And that was kind of the point. The walls were covered in random junk, license plates, vintage Coca-Cola signs, faded photos of spaghetti. It felt like home, just louder. These restaurants weren't just a place to eat. They were where people celebrated birthdays, showed up after sports games, had awkward first dates, or just needed a night off from cooking. These places were the social glue of the 90s. Our third place. Not home, not work, but the middle ground. And it wasn't just a cultural thing. It was economic. The restaurant industry was booming. Nearly 1.8 million jobs were added that decade. And 1 out of every 10 new service roles came from places just like this. There was something special about that time. A kind of communal rhythm that made dinner feel like more than just a meal. It was a tradition, a reset button at the end of the week. But like most good things, eventually they come to an end. What killed dinner with friends wasn't loud. There was no big explosion. It just faded. The booths were still there, the menus didn't change, but one by one, the people stopped showing up. And no one really noticed because we were still eating, just not together. In the early 2000s, casual dining started to slip. The same restaurants that were packed every Friday night in the 90s, TGI Fridays, Applebee's, Chili's, suddenly felt a little too noisy, a little too dated, a little too much effort. People's lives were speeding up, and somehow dinner became too long to sit through. At the same time, a new kind of restaurant quietly took over. Fast casual. You didn't need a waiter, a table, or even a reason to sit down. You could walk in, build your own burrito, and be out in 10 minutes. Chipotle, Panera, Wingstop. Fast, clean, efficient, and most importantly, personalized. Food stopped being about us and became all about me. You weren't just hungry. You were gluten-free, dairy-free, farm to table, low sodium, and ethically sourced. You weren't sharing a meal. You were curating an identity. Chain restaurants used to be the last neutral ground. Not rich, not poor, not fancy, not fast food. Just middle of the road, familiar, and accessible to everyone. It was one of the only places where a plumber, a teacher, and a project manager could all sit down, split a plate of nachos, and not feel out of place. As those spaces disappeared, so did the opportunity for casual connection. If all that's left is either $70 per person downtown spots or a fast food drive-thru, where do we meet in the middle? For casual community, for togetherness without pretense, we didn't stop needing that middle ground. We just forgot it mattered. The booths are empty now. The lights are still on, but no one's coming because dinner didn't stop. Gathering did. In 2024, casual dining sales dropped nearly 1%. Fast casual chains went up 0.6%. Fast food, up by 1%. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's how things disappear. Slowly, then all at once. We're still eating. We're just not doing it with each other. This wasn't about bottomless breadsticks. Not really. It was about a space, a ritual. And something in that ritual started to shift. Back in the 90s, places like Red Lobster and TGI Fridays were built for the middle class. They were loud, sticky, and weirdly comforting. You didn't have to dress up. It was affordable, easy, and most importantly, shared. But by the 2000s, the middle class was shrinking. Wages flatlined, rent didn't. Friends didn't live close anymore. And dinner out, it became a luxury, not a given. And that's when private equity stepped in. Let's talk about Red Lobster. Bought out, stripped for parts. They sold off the real estate, cut labor, slashed quality, but still tried to sell you endless shrimp like it was 1997. TGI Fridays, same thing. Hooters just filed for bankruptcy. Buca de Beppo, too. These places weren't just fading, they were being bled dry. Not because they stopped making money, but because someone figured out that they would make more by gutting them. And while all of that was happening, we still pour money into restaurants. We're just not staying to eat. We order from apps, we eat in cars, we scroll through DoorDash like it's Tinder for pad thai. According to Data Essential, 24% of Americans say they go to casual restaurants less often. 29% say they're spending less time dining out with friends or family. So who's replacing the chain restaurants? Fast casual, drive-thrus, Uber Eats. Faster, cheaper, easier. Millennials and Gen Z want the experience, just not the effort. They'll skip the chain restaurant and book a table somewhere with exposed brick, mood lighting, and a neon sign that says soul ties. Because it's not about the meal anymore. It's about the moment. We stopped chasing connection and started chasing content. We think commenting, OMG same, on someone's story is the same thing as being in their life. We send each other memes instead of asking how we're doing. We keep up without actually showing up. It feels like connection, but it's really just surveillance dressed up as friendship. Why ask someone to dinner to catch up when you've already watched their whole life unfold on Instagram? The proposal, the baby, the new job. You double tap, you move on. These moments feel real, but they're not. We told ourselves we were saving time, but what we're really doing was ghosting each other. Because convenience, yeah, it's nice, but it comes at a cost. And that cost is being alone. So Uber Eats helped. Private equity definitely helped. But if we're being real, we helped. We stopped calling. We picked efficiency over effort. And connection, the real, messy, in-person kind, became the thing we stopped fighting for. So who killed dinner with friends? It wasn't just DoorDash. It was all of us. This is the part where we all pretend
everything's fine.
We say we're busy. We say we're just doing our own thing. But the truth is, we're eating alone more than ever before. And some experts say it's making us miserable. Sure, dining solo can be cute, romantic even, but probably not when you're inhaling a burrito on the couch watching TikTok at 9 p.m. Because that's what dinner looks like now, not conversation. Dining rooms didn't disappear. They just moved. To front seats, to couches, to beds. Anywhere but across from someone who might ask, "How's your day?" And we tell ourselves we're okay with it, that it's independence, that it's empowering. But then why are TikToks about loneliness the ones with millions of views? A girl crying over takeout, a guy filming himself eating alone on his birthday, a quiet montage of old friends who don't hang out anymore. Those don't go viral because they're rare. They go viral because we all feel it. We've turned group dinners into group chats, shared plates into separate screens. We're not meeting up, we're just checking in. And the craziest part, we don't even realize how weird this is anymore. When every meal is solo and silent and lit by phone screen, it starts to feel normal, but it's not. Because humans weren't built for this. We're wired for dinner tables, for laughter between bites, and for sitting a little too long, drinking a little too much, and leaving with a story you'll laugh about for weeks. That's how relationships form. Not through DMs, not through likes, but through time, through repetition, through showing up. Instead, we're eating faster, talking less, and feeling more alone. Not because we're antisocial, but because we've been conditioned to believe that efficiency is greater than intimacy. When this becomes normal, we forget what connection even looks like. Apps didn't just change how we order food. They rewired how we relate to each other. You can get anything now in under 30 minutes, except a real connection. And that's a tragedy. Not that we're eating alone, but that we've convinced ourselves that this is fine, that this is what it means to grow up, that this is what dinner looks like now. But deep down, we know it's not, because we feel it. We feel it in every scroll, every time we think about texting someone and don't, every time we say next week and never follow up. So yeah, this is the new normal, but it isn't normal at all. I miss when dinner was more than just eating, when it meant something, when it wasn't just about the menu or the aesthetic, it was about people. And the older I get, the more I realize friendship doesn't survive on memories alone. It needs maintenance, intention, and dinner used to give us that. But now, we're all so tired, so busy, so far apart. We keep up without actually catching up. We scroll past birthdays. We send, "Let's hang soon," texts we mean, but don't. And it's no one's fault, but that doesn't mean it's not a problem. And now, this is the part where we decide what happens next. Because this isn't about saving chain restaurants. It's about saving something that's getting harder to hold on to. Each other. When was the last time you had dinner with friends and didn't rush to leave? Because maybe it's time to bring that back. Not the booths, not the singing happy birthday at your table, even if it's not your birthday. Just the part where we sit down and stay a while. So, text a friend, book the table, don't wait for it to hit different, and go outside. So you texted the friend, you booked the table, and maybe, just maybe, you even went outside. And when you got home, you didn't scroll. You just curled up and let the night settle in. But sometimes when the conversations end, the silence can feel kind of loud. You want something that keeps the feeling going, that connection, but without reaching for more screen time. That's where Audible comes in. Audible lets you turn quiet nights into something meaningful, with audiobooks and podcasts that meet you where you are. Maybe it's a story that reminds you how friendships are built, or even just a funny audiobook that keeps the vibe alive from earlier. Audible gives you unlimited access to a huge library of audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts. You can listen offline, switch titles anytime, and explore pretty much every genre you can think of. And right now, Audible's offering a 30-day free trial. That's 1 month completely free. Click the link in the description to start listening today. Again, that's 30 days of Audible free just by tapping the link below. Because connection doesn't have to end when the dinner does. All right, see ya. Time to eat.